Greetings, and welcome to another brand new episode of Out the Box Talks. I am your host, Krill. I am so excited to have another episode. This is episode 78. So thank you to all of our viewers, all of our listeners, those who go above and beyond to check for us on a weekly basis. You know, we put out a new episode every Friday, and we always try to bring you an artist that represents hip hop or even soul music that is doing it right, right? And what do we mean by doing it right? They are putting a creative, conscious, or even quality effort to their music. And the guests that I have on the show today have been doing that for quite some time. They do have a new album out. They put out an EP last year, and they've put out I feel like every year they put something out. But the new album that they have out is really good. It's really dope. It really represents their name. So you got to get a chance to hear what their name is in a little bit. But before I do that and bring them on, I do want to shout out a few things out the box related. Remember, you can always get access to all of our previous episodes. I mean, interviews with artists going all the way back to like 2008, 2009. We have been doing it for over a decade, bringing you quality interviews with some of the best hip hop artists that exist in the past and today and still relevant. So you can go to that website, outtheboxmedia.com. You can click on the tab that gets you to our previous TV shows, or well as the tab that gets you to our podcast and all of our radio interviews throughout the years. Also, if you want to be a supporter of Out the Box and you want to just go a step further, we do have a Patreon page where you can get exclusive access to interviews, clips that have not been available to the general public. It's only for our members of Out the Box Media, those who subscribe as Patreon members. So you can go to that link, patreon.com/outtheboxmedia. Also, if you want to just donate, right? Say you don't want to, be a subscriber on a monthly basis. That's understandable, but you like what we do and you just want to, send some funds over to help, keep these wheels moving. You can also send us donations through Cash App at #OutTheBoxRep, or you can do it through PayPal at paypal.me/OutTheBoxMedia. These links will be in the description of our YouTube video, as well as the description where our audio podcasts are as well. So whether you're listening through Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, you can also find the shows there as well. We always put the high quality audio up there as well. So yeah, man, definitely follow us, subscribe to us on YouTube. I always forget to say that. Make sure you hit that subscription box on the YouTube channel, Out the Box TV, and hit the notification bell to stay updated. All right. Also, last but not least, we have our merch store, which is outtheboxmedia.bigcartel.com. You got snapback hats like the Out the Box TV one that I got on, as well as the baseball tees and other t-shirts and other clothing items that you can support to just rock and, show your support for Out the Box Media. All right. So, yeah, man, any amount that you give is appreciated. If you just want to do the Cash App, do the donation, or you want to rock some gear, or you want to be a Patreon subscriber, whatever works for you. Either way, it's appreciated, right? And at the very least, if you can't put up any type of funds, or any type of cash support, you could just go to the website and just become a subscriber, right? Just a general subscriber for free, so that we could keep you updated by sending you emails with when we do new shows and so forth. All right. So I just wanted to get that out the way. So back to business, right? We have another guest on our show this week. Actually, it's a duo, right? So we got a couple artists that are going to be a part of the episode tonight. Again, this is episode 78 of Out the Box Talks. Man, I'm hoping that by the end of the year, we get to episode 100. I think we're on pace to do that if everything continues to go as it's been going, where we've been putting out shows every week. So hopefully we have a big episode at the end of the year for our 100th episode. But like I said, man, we have some guests on the show today. They put out an EP in September of last year called the Fallback EP. I had them as guests last year prior to that EP. And then not too long ago, I want to say, I believe the date was June 4th, they put out their full-length album for the year called The Greater Good. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, I want to welcome to our Out the Box Talks viewing and listening audience, my brothers representing that New York area, you know what I'm saying, and representing that boom bap, raw quality, soulful, jazz, hip hop, none other than Saint and M-Ski, better known as the Good People.
So let me tell you something. First of all, I'm going to take you on tour with us to be our hype man.
Yeah.
That intro was crazy.
That was the intro right there.
Listen, man, it's a pleasure to have y'all. Thank you so much. I had y'all on the show last year, but it was just audio. This year, as you can see, I upgraded it a bit. Even though YouTube, I've been on YouTube since 2009, right? But I'm glad to have y'all back so that the people can see y'all visually throughout the box, man. So how are y'all doing? Welcome. What's going on? Tell the people what's up with y'all.
Working hard, man. I'm a parent. I'm a father. I'm just going to get it. So, I just keep myself busy. Of course, I'm still writing. I write all the time. When me and Saint connect, you hear what happens.
Indeed. And happy belated Father's Day to you. I know Father's Day is usually that holiday you don't hear too much about, but, just in the spirit of it, being that it just passed, happy Father's Day to you.
Thank you, sir.
Indeed. So I got a lot to talk to y'all about today. The main focus of the interview is going to mainly, deal with this new album, The Greater Good, which is such a dope album. I mean, you guys are the good people, and I've gotten used to your music over the years, and this album is just your sound, right? Like, I feel like you guys have developed your own sound, and this album is doing it to the fullest. So I want to talk to y'all about this particular record and just all of the aspects of it, but before I jump into that, I do want to ask a little, just so people that may not know, how did you guys come together? Like, what made this collaboration between Saint and M-Ski become the Good People?
I want to tell the story. So going back to 2005, 2004, 2005. At the time, I was with a record label called Seven Heads out of Brooklyn. People remember Seven Heads label. Had a lot of artists on there: J Live, Wordsworth, Elvis Sensei, Mr. Complex. So I was working out of that label. Started there as an engineer. Became an artist on the label, and I had just come off of my first. I put on my first album called Grown Folk Music, and I just come off the label and started working on my solo project as my first project outside the label. And I had this track and this beat, and I wanted to get cuts on it. So I was a big fan of the Underground Railroad radio show in New York City. M-Ski was one of the resident DJs there on the show. So I reached out to him, asked him if he put some cuts on the track. I don't know if you remember, he had actually come through when I was working at the label one time to pick up records. I don't know if he remembers meeting me at the label at that time. So we actually had met like maybe a year before that. But so he came through, he put some cuts down on this track. He's like, I rhyme too. I was like, oh, wow, okay. So he took out the notebook. He put some verses down on this track. The track is called These Times. It's on our first album that was released on Boom Tracks Media Factory in Japan. And we did another track that day as well. And like the rest is history. Like we just clicked right then. And it seemed like every weekend he was just coming out. I was out on Long Island at the time. He just come out every weekend on Long Island. We were laying down music, and it's just everything is worked out perfectly. We're always on the same wavelength, everything that we wanted. So it's just that connection from right from the beginning.
We're dedicated students of the game, and our chemistry is it's crazy. I mean, I don't really see Saint as often as I like, but even when with music, we have such a good chemistry that we don't have to be in the studio together to make it happen, and that's magic.
Oh yeah, definitely. Dope, man. So I'm glad that you guys did that. I know you guys said that in the last interview we did, but I always kind of just want to ask that question again for folks that might not have known or might not have caught that interview, right? So thank y'all for
Of course.
breaking down. So this new album is entitled The Greater Good, right? It sounds like a good people album title, right? But
Good in it, yeah.
you guys give me some insight on why y'all chose to go with this title.
I'll just start by saying that this album was constructed during the pandemic, so there were a lot of emotions and crazy things going on around us, and obviously, like I said, I couldn't see Saint to really be in the studio, so we just put this whole thing together, and within that, like, our concept as the good people is, we're good people, we're good men, we're good family men, we're good at rhyming, and we're about the greater good of the world and people and inclusion and interaction. Something that a lot of brothers in hip hop don't really talk about. If you're all about love, I mean, we're about love, but at the same time, you can get these hands too. The good people ain't soft. I just want to put that out there. But we're good on many levels, and the greater good is basically about rising above the challenges that all of us have faced within the last year, and just being about bettering yourself and just making your circle around you what you want it to be.
Definitely. And I feel like that vibe comes through overall on this project. It's sprinkled throughout different tracks on the album, but I think cohesively you get that energy with this project. So yeah, thanks for breaking that down. So
No.
the self-titled track is called Greater Good, which obviously self-titled. Emski, you say on that track you want to be known and represented like the logo of Jordan. Worldwide presence, yeah, that type of supporting without the pop corny type of rep and a brand that sinks quick like the time in an hourglass stand. Now, that's something that I hope really quality artists that represent underground hip hop are able to achieve. However, I know it's not a reality that we're used to. So my question to you is, what do you think needs to happen from either the fan base of hip hop or the artists themselves in order for them to get to that kind of recognition?
First and foremost, people need to just support good music, stop listening to friends and blogs and influencers and things of that nature. Go what feels good to you. As far as artists, I mean, look, you can't tell an artist what to do. I mean, artists, they do what they feel. Sometimes, a lot of times, people say that they're creating art, but they're just really taking what somebody else is doing and repeating it. They're not trying to put their own style into it. Um, I don't know. I just feel like we're those guys that a lot of people really would like to have the balance of, but they're too afraid to kind of level it out. It has to fit a certain image. It has to fit a certain feel. Put it this way: a lot of playlists I see, a lot of, and no disrespect to these people at all, Griselda, and a lot of joints that are like 80 beats per minute, 80 beats per minute, really slow, head nodding. It's hip hop. It's great hip hop, but if you listen to our album, our BPMs are higher, and we have more melodic sound, and I think it appeals to, it not only appeals to the hip hop head because it has that knock, but it's got melodies. It's got stuff that true listeners, true music appreciators will be like, yo, I like that string in the background. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Me and Saint come from the analog era where you read liner notes on cassette covers and record covers and stuff. So we just try to incorporate all that into what we do.
Dope. You know, in speaking about that track, one of the things that's noticeable on that track, and also, you know, obviously on other tracks that you guys have done too, is the hook. I wanted to ask though, Saint, is that you singing on Greater Good? You go. Oh, I'm sorry. I got you.
Yes, my golden pipes. Yeah, that's yeah.
Hey yo.
I was like, man, like, yo, Saint is doing his thing, you know, with them vocals. You know what I mean?
I think I do at least like one type of melody type hook on every album, like throw it on.
Yeah. But see, that goes back to what I was saying earlier. The melody we create, it's a vibe. It's not just a knock and beat. It's multi-leveled as a part of the Good People brand. I can't explain it. It's just magic, man. Like Saint he plays. A lot of brothers can't even really talk about playing. They just sample everything. You know, Saint plays. You know what I'm saying? He could play vibes. Like listen, if you listen to some of our older albums, you know, he gets a little busy on vibes at the end of songs and stuff. He sings. So I sing too. Like there's a lot of our earlier Good People stuff where I'm harmonizing and everything. So yeah, we were multi-level, man.
Yeah, I can definitely see that, man. Like you don't really have to explain it much. I mean, like I get it when I listen to the music. So I totally understand where you're coming from. Saint, your production is very, you know, it's very soulful. It has a jazzy vibe to it as well. And it's absolutely boom bap. Like as far as what I know boom bap to be, this is that sound. How is most of your like instrumentals made? Like, are you like a beat machine guy, or do you make your beats via like the DAWs, like, you know, Ableton and Logic and stuff like that? What's your machine of choice or your software of choice?
Yeah, I use the ASRX as my beat machine, combined with Pro Tools. Being that I do like basically how I construct it usually is that I'll find a sample that I like. I'll take that sample, then I can get an idea of what kind of drums I want. I'll construct the drums, throw the sample on top of that, and then from there, typically, then the Pro Tools is going to come in where I'm going to be playing stuff on. I might play a bass line on it. I might put some type of synth on it. I might play some other sounds on top of the sample. It's usually how I construct it. I mean, what you were just talking about actually too. Some songs don't have samples, like the Greater Good. In fact, didn't have any samples. That's all played out. But even when I am playing something out, I want it to almost sound like it's a sample. Like it sounds like organic, real music. It doesn't sound electronic synth played out. We don't do like real like electronic completely. I like to do something that has a nice soulful organic sound, and then maybe throw some electronic on top of that. And that's kind of maybe some like the ingredients we put together to make our sound.
So you see, even behind the scenes, like it may sound simple, but there's a lot of layers to this, man. And those who appreciate music and who listen, I think they appreciate it even more once because I mean, look, I'm in the group and I've told Saint, yo, a song you did 2 years ago, I'm just hearing you put a flute way in the background. He just smiles. And it's just like, that's the way we do, man.
That's what's up, man. That's what's up. Yeah, you were going to say something, Saint?
Yeah, I was going to say too, because I put a lot of work into beats. There's a lot of producers out there now they're just like factories, they're beat machines. They're just churning out beats. I'm not really that type. Man, there's nothing wrong with that, and that's cool. But that's what they do. But that's not really how I operate. Usually, I'm making a beat towards something. Like I don't have any beat tapes. I don't have beats laying around. If we're making something, I'm making it towards something, and I'm putting a lot of effort into it. And it's going to take me all day, at least, a full day to make one beat. I'm playing with different things. I'm taking things in and out. there's a lot of time and effort that goes into it. And I like to make it where the beat speaks for itself. It's something you can listen to without any vocals on it even. It's cool enough as an instrumental, so when you know like MC gonna spin on it afterwards, it's gonna take it to a whole nother level, even that much better.
Yeah. I noticed in a lot of your beats, especially on this album, they kind of start out without the drums and then the drums come in, and then you sometimes like end it without the drums as well. And it sets that tone for the I guess the full melody. As a listener, you get the grasp of just the full melody of the song. And I wanted to ask you though, like another thing that I thought was dope about your beats is that the production is like really, really crispy. Like, how do you get I mean, not the production, I mean the drums. That's what I meant to say. The drums like consistently sound crisp. Like, how do you get your drums to sound so clean and smooth?
There's a lot of layers on the drums. I would give you an idea. Like you'll never hear a snare on there that's not 3 snares on top of each other, for one. So it gives you like a fuller body sound. And what I do is when I'm trying to do it, maybe it's like a little tip for new producers. I'm sure the producers maybe do this, but I look for, there's going to be a snare that's going to be kind of have a bit bottom. There's going to be at least a snare in there that's going to have some highs in it. So it's kind of hitting all these different sound spectrums. It's hitting the lows. It's hitting that 500 hertz area. Then we're going to hit like this, 6,000, 7,000 K area. And so the drums sound kind of big. And then however you're listening to, whatever speakers, you get, I think like the drums have it's kind of like a bigger sound to them. And but most of my drum, like a lot of the drum, I don't really take any drums off of any machines. They're all basically chopped up sample drums that I found and laid up as well. So a lot of the drums off records, like all analog drums, nothing really taken off a keyboard or anything like that.
Okay, so you're not creating it with the pad.
I'm sampling drums off different areas, putting on the pad, layering on top. Like I said, like there's there's always at least maybe 2 hi-hats together. There's always at least 3 snares and 2 to 3 kicks layered on top of each other.
Right. Okay, I got you. Oh, so you layered them. Nice. No, because when it comes to beat making, like if you're like, especially when you're making drums on the pads, if you're like a fraction of a second off, like say you're trying to do boom boom bat, boom boom bat, and you're like a fraction of a second off, then the rhythm doesn't go so smoothly. But when I listen to your drums, like just if I picture listening to the music by just hearing the drums alone, like the drums sound like the rhythm just sounds really smooth. So
Well, I grew up playing drums. That was my first instrument.
Okay, dope.
So I have a background in percussion and drums. So I have an idea of what the swing is supposed to sound like.
Right.
On drums, maybe compared to some people that don't really understand how drums work, or should swing. It's got the hi-hats have to swing a certain way over the snare, and then when I'm putting the kicks in, the kicks are playing with the snare and the sample in a certain way, and that's important. That's probably that's really important to the sound that I put out.
That's what's up, man. And I think it shows, right? Your experience and your your talents that you've had years perfecting with it shows in the music as well.
Yeah, and I'm just the type of stuff that I like. I like that, just that boom, that certain swing. I don't when people got into, they started following trends and drums got a little choppier, a little more electronic and stuff. I didn't follow that. I never did, which is fine. And now Dilla kind of had that little and like drums would be like offbeat a little bit, this and that was cool for what he did. But and of course you could hear this in our music as well, is that we never follow formulas. We've been you go back to 2005, 2006, our earliest stuff. It sounds like our stuff now. This is a Good People has a sound to it. We're not trying to sound like what's coming out now. The Good People has its own sound, and I try to stay true to that, especially in my production. Honestly, I don't even really I try not to even listen to a lot of new stuff because I don't want to be like subconsciously influenced by some of the stuff that's coming out now, and I want it to sound like our stuff.
Got it. So I want to get back to some of the music on the album. The track Good Lord features the Lords of the Underground on it. And I love how y'all took their name, like part of their name and your name, and made pretty much the name of the track. Talk to me about how you guys got the Lords of the Underground to work with y'all on this project. I honestly haven't heard much from them in years. And not to say that they probably haven't been doing stuff, but I just haven't heard. But it was dope to kind of see like such a dope group from the golden era kind of be a part of this. Talk to me about how that collaboration came.
Yeah, it's kind of funny story. So BecauseWeLiveIt.com, shout out to BecauseWeLiveIt.com. That's a website, clothing line. They also do some records. They did record with Master Ace, as we did too. They reached out to me, and I was actually in remember I was in New Zealand at the time. They reached out and they were like, we really like your stuff, and maybe want to put something together. If you were to work with somebody else that you haven't worked with yet, who are some artists that you want to work with? So I kind of like gave him like a short little list. I'm like, Lords Underground has always been like one of my favorites growing up. That's just been one of my groups, man. So I'm like, I threw it out there, and he's like, all right, bet. And so he comes back to me. He's like, maybe like a few days later, he's like, I spoke to Do It All, Funky. He's like, I could put a track together with y'all if you want to do it for a compilation. I'm like, all right, cool. And actually, I remember and he's like, yeah, he's like, they want to hear the beat, and I was like out of the country for like 2 weeks, but I remember I brought like my machine, and I brought my laptop. So actually, I remember my family had gone. They went out. They were like doing whatever, like on an excursion and stuff, and I stayed back. And actually, I remember making that beat in New Zealand while they went out. So like, and I hit it with that beat that night, and they liked it. So they jumped on the track, and then it was supposed to be a compilation that they were going to put out through the site, but then I don't know, some things happened. So this was like maybe like a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. So that's how long ago we did the track. So then we were coming out this album, and I reached out to the guy. I'm like, I don't know if you're ready to put this out. And I'm like, we got this album coming out. This would fit perfect. And so they basically allowed us to put it out on the album. I told I rep for them. If you watch the video, we're wearing the Because We Live It shirts. I mentioned Because We Live It in the song. So we rep for them. It's dope clothes too, by the way. Not just I wasn't just wearing it to please. If y'all go out, check out Because We Live It.
Very good quality
Clothes. Yeah. And that's how that song came to be. It was just like all these things were aligned. It's worked out.
Dope. And to my understanding, you got all of the members right on the track.
We got Do It All, and we got Funky. So we got the two main MCs.
Got it.
We had a different DJ. They have Lord Jazz. We got DJ Seriality, which is our DJ when we do shows in our man, and he laid the cuts down on the track.
Dope. Man, thanks for breaking that down, man. I didn't know. I would have never thought it was just a dream of yours. Like, I want to work with them.
Dude, if you go back and listen to all our projects are just like, all the songs are like bucket lists MCs, like everybody we always wanted to work with. Like, we're like, I'm trying to think of like who there's other people, of course, we want to work with, but it's amazing who we've been able to work with and get on, and it's been amazing looking back. Like I was just telling him, like I was saying, if I can go back to like my 16-year-old self and let him know all the people that I work with now, I mean, I'll be like, no way,
Yeah, like y'all got Craig G on there too, which is dope. Like speaking of that bucket list, like how much more of the bucket list do you have to go?
There'll always be somebody.
There's always be somebody.
Yeah.
We love a lot.
I mean, we are selective though. Like it's
right
because our collaboration is magic. We need to, make sure that the elements that we work with are conducive to our style. I mean, we have had cases where, we got a guest verse from somebody, and it was like, nah, it doesn't fit.
That happened. We're not going to name names, but we had a big name
right
for the past album, and they sent us a verse, and yeah, it did not fit our style, subject matter, and also we didn't go with it. It's just because it didn't fit for us.
Yeah.
Got it. Is there anyone out there that you guys would, if you guys had to say now, like as artists that you would like to, that like, I guess what's remaining on that bucket list? Is this like a couple names that you still haven't gotten a chance to work with that you would care to share?
I'll answer that first. I think for me, I've been in this game a long time. I'm not really. I mean, I consider a lot of brothers my peers. I mean, even though like they were rhyming years ahead of me, like the fact that we've done tracks with people and we're good friends with them, it's like whoever comes, that's cool. But I'm not really like, yo, we're doing a track with so and so, because I know what we bring to the table. We're still trying to establish the good people as our own entity. You know what I'm saying? But having these legends and really experienced MCs on our projects, man, it only adds to our building, because it's like, yo, they did a track with so and so, and like we've had Cellar Dwellers, we've had Sadat X, we've had DJ Eclipse. I'm just throwing names out. Like
Right.
all of these names are significant in hip hop. Shabam Shadiq, Gangsta Rap Martyr, like heavyweight MCs, and we've had the chance to work with them,
Definitely.
and everything that has turned out to be pretty damn good.
That's what's up. Yo, so I want to ask, let's see, I want to go back to some of the music on the album. Like I said, I'm gonna be going through not every track, but most of the tracks on this album. I don't know how much of like my recent shows you guys have gotten to see, but like I really like to tap into the body of work, especially the most recent body of work, and really just getting through the lyrics and the subject matter and the themes. So M-Ski, you have a line on that same song, Good Lord, where you say, out of control, in the pocket, with the verbal and mastery is how it has to be. With me and my man Saint, it's more than a passion. It's a way of living, given this. Never want to be on a whack or bull ishing list, right? When you say it's more than a passion, it's a way of living. Can you expound more on what you mean by that line?
Everything that you hear us, any rhyme that you hear us spit is something from real life. And I think basically I'm just saying, like, you have to be real. I mean, a lot of brothers like to put words together, and that's cool. But I think when you actually speak to certain things directly, it hits nerves with people, because it's like, yo, like that's real. I went through that. You know what I mean? I think that's what we're trying to do, man. Is just keeping that. Does that make sense?
No, that makes a lot of sense, man. Thank you. Yeah, I get it, man. Like it's important to speak to what's true to you. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I wanted to also ask about the one of my favorite songs on the album is called No Sweat. It might be my number one song on the album, even though there's like a lot that I really like. But I just like the overall vibe of this song. And I know there's how you say, a uniformity to a degree in terms of what you guys are talking about. But I want to give y'all a chance to kind of talk about what this song at the core is about and what inspired it.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned, because not too many people talk. That's one of my favorite songs in the album too. A lot of people don't really talk about it. So we had in the hook we had AG, right? Was he saying I was trying to remember exactly what it says in the hook.
I'm forgetting the actual the way the hook goes. I just know that this record it just is one of the like major standouts for me. Let me see.
I think with some of the stuff we were talking, I know like Emski was kind of talking about it, and he was mentioning this before. Some of the things that mentioned the songs about, like we are good people. We're cool with chill, but you, there's a line that could be crossed with us. So recognize that,
Amen.
being soft. You mentioned, a lot.
You know what? I'll even say, remember how De La Soul was perceived back in the day? Like, they were oddballs, and you were like, yo, and then they had to come out and say, yo, we're all about peace and love, but you don't want to throw no joints. So it's just like, we just put that out there because the good people, when you say good, it flows off the tongue. The good people,
Right.
and it makes it seem like everything's okay. Everything is okay until it's not. So we try to keep it on the good. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because when people talk about our music, it's like, it always feels so good. It feels so good. It's so bouncy. This and that. I'm like, yeah, that's cool. But that's, I guess, the production wise. But if you listen to the lyrics, there's a lot of serious stuff that M speaks about in the songs, and a lot of different subject matters that, like, okay, yeah, it's got like some of it might have a bouncy feel, but don't take it too lightly. A lot of stuff that we're doing.
And a lot of the punchlines have 2 and 3, like they have multiple meanings. It's crazy the way I write, but yeah, man, we're on our own lane, and the response on this Greater Good album has been amazing. People are going crazy over the single, the Good Lord's joint, but we just keep working, man. It's like, look, you're only as good as your last release, because, especially now, everybody does everything. If you do something now and you're sitting there gloating about it for, 2-3 weeks, somebody else hungry is bam, right back at it, putting something else out. You know what I'm saying? So you got to keep yourself in the eye. And I think we got more in the stash too, man. We're constantly working. So yeah.
Yeah, man. The hook is kind of like I think it's like some cuts over some like vocals.
Yeah, it's vocal. Yeah, like you drop vocals on it. It was like the AGs, like I'm a cool cap. I never sweat that.
Yeah.
To my squad, you'll forget that. Whatever it was, with the Eric Sermon sample in there too. Yeah.
Yeah, the Eric Sermon sample. Yep.
You got beef with my squad, you better that.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, like it. That's another thing I wanted to ask y'all too. Like, I noticed that there are some tracks where Saint may be singing, Ski may be doing the hooks like in a rap form, and then there's just some tracks where it's just sample vocals with cuts. Like, how do y'all figure out which tracks fit that vibe or fit that approach? Because this works for the No Sweat track, right? Like, I mean, I guess I can say it works because I haven't heard it no other way. But like, really, like, based on what the outcome is, like, it works, and I like it. That's why.
I was thinking. When it comes down, if you hear a track of ours that has vocals samples in the hook that are just placed and not cut up, that's basically me DJing the hook, and I don't DJ or scratch, so there's no scratching. It's basically what it is. Like, I'll come up with this hook, but like I'm not a DJ, so then I know my lane. So sometimes I'll place it. I place it on the track. And I'm like, this sounds dope as it is. It don't really have to be, these words don't have to be cut up on it.
Yeah.
Word. Wow.
That's actually how that turns out. And then there's some tracks, a lot of the tracks we hear are like, there's got to be cuts on this. There's got to be cuts. So we'll go out, reach out to somebody, and we'll kind of give them an idea what we're looking for, and they'll come up with samples that they scratch up, or we'll give them some samples, like, and we like to give them, they're an artist themselves, so we want them to kind of go freely on how they want to rock over the track or the hook. But like, we're picturing this is scratches on this hook. Or I mean, I think a lot of times the vocal hook stuff is through Emski. He goes in the studio and puts it in. I guess it just sparks in his mind.
Exactly.
Like, I got this hook. I got to put it down. And then it occasionally happens to me, like on the Greater Good with this. Like, while I was making the beat, I'm like, like I can hear a singing that sounds like that, and then I kind of put words to it, and I sang over it. So it's stuff that just comes to us. It's really organic.
It is.
Dope.
Yeah.
When I think about it, I feel like there's no track on this album where you guys go to a featured vocalist for the hooks. I feel like you all, I could be wrong, but I mean, I could be wrong based on what I've heard. Like, I feel like every track, if there is a hook, it's either one of y'all doing it, you know?
The featured vocalists are the DJs on
right, yeah. But
yeah.
that's what I mean. Like, you know, you don't have like a female vocalist coming in and singing the hook. Like, you guys take care of that.
I mean, that's a possibility. Like we haven't talked about that in a while, but you know, I'm sure that, you know, I work in a place where, you know, things are starting to open back up, and I'm able to meet a lot of performers, and I'm pretty sure, you know, I'll find somebody. And actually, I just remembered. I met this girl last year. Her name is Amira B. She's incredible, but I would love to work with her, but you know, the pandemic hit and everything. But yeah, right. I mean, between me and Saint, we always usually do it, but you know, because we're kind of rising and expanding, you know, I could definitely, you know, see somebody coming in and doing something.
We've done some things in the past too. You know, Honey La Rochelle has sang a song. Yes. I remember my first time I had Vinny Mojica. We've worked with people, but you know what? You know, I kind of keep in the back of my mind. A lot of people, they talk about how our stuff is kind of light and bouncy, and I don't want to take offense to it, but I'm like, I don't want it to sound too soft. I don't want to get like cross the line R&B, like too R&B-ish.
I think we ride that line. I mean, that's the magic. Like, we ride that line of, yo, it's not gutter street, but I can rock with this.
Yeah. It's kind of a silly way of thinking. I think that's why I don't run out and try to get a female singer on tracks. I want to be careful not to cross that line too far.
But it gives me the vibe of like Tribe. You know what I mean? Like, you know, I never think like straight R&B. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
and straight R&B, straight R&B, straight R&B.
Now, the point, if it's done, it really has to be done right.
Nah, you gotta do it right. Yeah, dope. So, going back to the song "No Sweat," at the close of the song, there's a skit where a guy is pretty much ranting about rap music, saying that the genre takes no time to make. It's basically like rap in general sucks. Like, what was the purpose of having this skit at the end of the track?
I gotta hear this.
Random. I wasn't even expecting it to come on. Like, it's my favorite track on the album, and like this guy just starts talking about how rap sucks at the end. Like, why'd you put that?
I thought it was funny to have. You know, I was flipping through something on the internet, and I came across this kid doing this rant, and he rants off like 20 minutes. This dude probably has no idea he's on this album. No clue. So he just ranting on, and I'm watching this, and I'm looking at it, I'm like, this is great. I'm like, you know, coming from this, what he's saying, and I'm like, you know, and some of the other stuff as he goes on, I'm like, I kind of agree with you on some of this stuff, you know, he's saying with you know, talking about the way rap is and stuff. Yeah. So I thought it was kind of funny if it's almost like juxtaposed, where you just came out of a hot, dope beat track, and then like this kind of like elevator music kind of pops on, and this dude just complaining about hip hop, and like how it sucks. And,
the buzzkill guy.
Everything that's wrong with it after you just came out of a really dope track. And I think it is parts of it I just listened to, and it's just funny. It was funny to me. You know, I don't know if anybody else was going to find it funny.
No, I think it's hilarious because he didn't tell me he was going to put it on there, and I was listening to the album, and I was like, "Oh, this is brilliant. I love it."
What's the feedback been like, you know, from like listeners about, you know, that particular track and that skit coming at the end?
You know, I've only heard from a few people that are like, "Yo, that's hilarious! Like, what is that?" You know, because like I said, I placed the music under him, and I think him talking, and it just adds to it. It's like this, like light, like happy music, you know, elevator music, and him just complaining how his hip hop sucks. It's just
got it.
Playing a guitar is hard.
It's just obviously from somebody who just doesn't get it.
Awesome.
Right.
Complain about it, and it's just funny to me to hear people
Yeah.
that just don't get it, act like experts.
It's also funny when you think about the name of the track is called No Sweat, and like what you guys are talking about, and it's almost like y'all are like, I ain't sweating the small stuff, and then he comes on. And
it's kind of making fun of ourselves a little bit,
Right.
you know, not taking it too serious. We can do that, you know, not taking it too serious.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like there's some serious stuff that goes on the album, but you gotta have fun too.
Got it. Speaking of fun, I thought it was really cool that you guys had DJ Ace on the Ace and Two Kings track, where
man.
He pretty much gets like a solo track minus like your rap vocal Saint on the track. Like he really just shines on that. Can you talk about your reasoning for giving DJ Ace, that shine on that track with his scratches and being able to display himself on that?
Well, I saw him on the Instagram, and I was like, yo, and I was just bugged out because he's a lieutenant. He's like a real live lieutenant, New York City Police Department lieutenant, who's a dope ass hip hop DJ. And I saw him on Instagram. I was like, yo, this is incredible. So I was like, yeah, I thought about it, especially with today's hip hop, like I referred to earlier, a lot of stuff is very slow, head nodding. It's not really, not happy, but just more lively, where, hip hop joints back in the day, cutting and live cutting, it added an element to the beat. And I was like, you know what? Nobody has done a DJ track in a while. I said, you know what? Let me just see if he'll just agree to do this track. So I just reached out to him. He's like, yeah, let's go. Bam. And I just decided, okay, well, we're not gonna have him cutting. I said, look, I'll do a couple of bars. Saint, you do a couple of bars, and then we'll just map out. Okay, give him this section, this section, this section. Sent it to him. He knocked it out of the park. That was it.
Yeah, if you notice, he's cutting up all lines from our past songs.
Yeah.
Whether it's lines that we've said, it's guests. I sent him just like I don't know how long, like a half an hour's worth of just like acapella stuff.
Yeah.
But lines cut up that he could like go through. So we're making sure that he's not gonna be scratching up the same things other DJs scratching up, and it's kind of like him showcasing some of the stuff we've done in the past on the track with his cuts. I knew of DJ Ace from a few years back. Yeah, like he kind of came on the scene. I think like his first thing was there was like a party. I remember this like maybe it was like on the news years ago, like some kind of party, and then like he came on the decks to DJ, and like people were like, this cop like in his uniform, like didn't expect it, and he kills it.
Yeah.
So like it was like people didn't expect it, and then I think that's maybe how he kind of came to fame, and like people started to get to know him. But he's a serious DJ. But yeah,
and he's a very good dude too.
He did a phenomenal job. Yeah, he's a great guy.
Dope, man. On the track Nightlife, Emski, you reminisce on what it was like prior to this, pandemic, to be able to go to parties and not have to worry about COVID, and all the stuff that comes with the social distancing. How has the pandemic impacted your viewpoint on how we engage as a culture and as a music community moving forward?
Just listen to the album. The whole album basically was written during the pandemic when, as a black man, you have that other guy that was president. I had to wake up to that every day. I have a 9-year-old autistic son. You deal with that. You deal with so many other elements, and it's like you're in the middle of a pandemic, and then there's life all around you, And I basically wrote a lot of stuff to stay sane because like that. I go inside my mind and I'm writing how I'm feeling. I'm writing about different things that are on my mind. You know what I'm saying? So I just basically wrote about everything I was going through during the pandemic, and the nightlife thing. Nobody knew what was going to happen. I mean, we had with that other guy, we had gone so far down the rabbit hole. Nobody knew. Nobody was in control. It's like, what does the future hold? So when I wrote this joint, there was still a lot of uncertainties. And I was like, yo, I don't really think that we're ever going to be able to get back a lot of maskless people, super spreader events during that time period. So I was like, yo, I'm gonna just write a joint about how it used to be. Now, obviously, fast forward, people are getting vaccinated. We're moving forward. Spots are starting to open back up. But that was basically the premise of that nightlife joint. And shout to Mikey D, the legend, Mikey D. He blessed us with a verse on that too. But yeah, I was just talking about how it was a chance to just kind of throw an ode to how parties used to be when people used to go out and dance. Now people go out and stare at their phones. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like a double meaning, like before the pandemic and before, like, when we used to really party. That's what that was about.
Dope. I wanted to ask you guys, as you were explaining that, like, what was like the time frame of the recording of this album? Because as you said, things are starting to open up, more now, but I'm assuming that this project might have been recorded like in this crux of the pandemic, right? Like what like, give me the time frame that you guys started recording this to, like, when you guys completed it.
Saying you might want to handle this. I don't even have a timeline on that.
It basically, it was like the beginning of the pandemic until what, March, before we probably like wrapped the album up, like March, April, before we dropped it in June. So yeah, the whole album was just all about, and that's why it was like kind of impossible to go through the album and not mention COVID. COVID's mentioned a few times throughout the album, but like it had to be, because that's what was going on. Every time we're working on the album, we're talking about what's going on in the world. Obviously, That's the biggest thing that's going on.
Right.
And I thought about it while we were doing it. I'm like, I don't know how, to be honest, I don't know how well it's going to age. You may go, 10 years from now, and we're doing COVID topics, and either people are going to look back and like, I don't really know how I feel, or they're going to be reminiscent. It's going to take them back to this time of when they were going through it. I'm not sure how that's going to pan out. Maybe do both. I don't know, but it had to be touched on, because that's what we were going through. I mean, this is like the biggest things, like, in our lifetimes that we've ever seen.
Well, I think it'll stand the test of time, because everybody was in the same situation. Most people. I mean, everybody has different situations within their own households, but I'm just saying, during a pandemic, a lot of people were facing the same circumstances. So the references that we have on this album a lot of people will always be able to relate about what happened during that time period.
Right. And another project that y'all put out, and I mentioned it earlier, was the Fallback project, which was really, really dope. It was an EP, it wasn't as much tracks. But I really like that as well. Like, talk to me a little bit about how how did that project come together, and was the Greater Good like already in the process of creation with that? Like, how did y'all put that out, knowing that the Greater Good was going to be coming out next, or followed up with, like?
Yeah. Well, first off, shout to Charlotte Analog Bastard. Yep. That's who we did the project with. Go ahead, Saint.
So I would say we came out as single. I don't remember what the date was, but
December. I can't remember the exact date though.
What was this? No, the single. It was before that. It was what's the single we came out with? With the Fight Dog hook. No. Before that, the EP, the Fight Dog hook, with the video, with the animation.
Oh, hear me out.
Yeah, Hear Me Out. So we did Hear Me Out, and I feel like that was kind of like the start of this album, of the Greater Good. We did that, and then we started working on the Fallback EP with Charlotte Analog Bastard, and so I felt like it was kind of like the album's going to be put on pause for a little bit, so that we put that out as a single, and started working on the Fallback. He hit us with like 6-7 joints, so he did all the production on that, and so it was almost like we kind of paused. We did that, we went into that, and then from there we were back into this album. But it's like just creativity. It's, if you're in the moment and something comes along, you have a plan, you're doing this, but artistically, and something like sparked something else, and he came with something else. He came with different beats. We're like, oh no, I'm in the mood for this. I want to go and do this.
Right.
That's what we did. We went and did that.
What was the purpose of the Fallback?
Let's say Shaw the Analog Bastard, I guess he's a dope producer, but also I guess he's a fan of the Good People as well. He wanted to do something with us. I know he went through M-Ski. We were talking about it. So it was really just almost like a production album for Shaw the Analog for us to help showcase that and spit on his tracks, and then we put the EP together.
So
Who's M-Ski?
yeah, he jumped off. He'll join back. Don't worry. M-Ski we'll have you back, but I'll continue on with Saint. Yeah, thanks. I just wanted to ask about the Fallback because that's a project that I really liked as well. But going back to, I see we have M-Ski back.
I don't know what happened. My phone just blanked out.
You're
Weird.
back.
Okay.
Straighten up a little bit, yeah.
So I wanted to also ask about the track on, I think the song called Fire, featuring Craig G on the Greater Good album. Saint, we hear you on the hook. I feel like you're, like I said, you're on a number of the hooks, either rapping or singing, like, how do you know which tracks you're gonna sing over versus like rapping over?
Well, first of all, I usually we choose as we're doing it, doing the songs, what the format, what's gonna happen. Like I don't rhyme on every song. I'm not like M-Ski's the main MC of the group, and I look at it that way. And I kind of explain it and I describe it as like a Pete Rock and CL Smooth dynamic, where Pete was the producer, but he jump on tracks too and rhyme a little bit, and that's kind of like how we are, So some tracks I know I'm not going to be putting a verse down on, but I hear something in it, and it's more like I want to be kind of involved in it, and I have an idea. So then that's how usually I end up on the hooks on some of the songs. And just I'll just sit with the track. I listen to the beat. A lot of times it's the verses. When I'm doing a hook, the verses are put down already, and it's whatever speaks to me. Sometimes, especially if something is maybe a little more melodic, I'll hear something in my some type of tones or type of notes in my head that I can hear going over that beat. Sometimes I'm just like, nah, I just gotta speak something over this beat.
And we rarely disagree. Like when one of us has an idea and we put it down, that's what it is. So that's even more crazy.
Yeah.
Yo, that's what's up, man. That's special, like, because that's hard to come by, even consistently. You know what I mean? So
and we're both Met fans, so I don't know if that has anything to do with it.
Could be, right? Could be. I wanted to ask Saint, like, I noticed that like I said, most of your music like either has like that jazz, a lot of jazz samples. I noticed, like, but I wanted you to kind of talk about like what speaks to you consistently in terms of the samples that you're looking for when you're making your beats and stuff. What is that universal sound that you're looking for, if there is one?
I was speaking on this recently. I have some kind of like strange unwritten rules when it comes to sampling. Like I try not to sample anything past 1980. I feel like that's too recent. So I'm looking for older records. I'm looking in certain genres. I'm looking. I'm a huge fan of Fender Rhodes, so I'm looking on back of records, finding if there's Fender Rhodes on. I'm usually checking it out. But then sometimes I'll find something else on there that doesn't have actually Fender Rhodes on, and I'll sample it anyway. But I'm really into melodies in songs. Some people are. Some producers are. I think they're into more rhythm, and it's funny because I say I'm coming from like a drummer background. So like they'll do a beat and just kind of things are chopped up and it's one note. That's a little boring to me. I try to put these melodies together on top of tracks. And sometimes when I'm listening to samples, these certain one note that comes in right after a previous note. Something I just hear it. I'm like, Yes, like that right there, and then I'm gonna build on that.
Dope. What about like vocal samples? Like I don't know if I hear that much in your music. Like you know how people would chop up vocal samples and that becomes like the melody for certain.
Yeah.
Is that something that you kind of stay away from, or like what's your take on vocal samples?
I like vocal samples as kind of like a garnish, as a little extra on the beat. I don't really wouldn't do too much probably for a complete beat
Right.
that's a vocal sample. And honestly, I don't really know the reason why. Maybe it's I just like instruments over vocals. It's an interesting question. Actually, I never really thought about it. Why I don't really make complete vocal beats. It just doesn't speak to me. It speaks to me as I like it on top of instruments, but not on its own.
That's cool. That's all good, man. Like it just came to mind that I figured I ask about it. Emski, I don't think I've ever told you this before, like obviously in the last interview, but when I think about your music, your style is very reminiscent of Large Pro when he spits. How much of his music or the people that come from his ilk are you inspired by?
It's funny that you mentioned Large Professor because I was compared to him and KRS-One because I used to rhyme really hard when I was back in like the late '80s, early '90s. I sounded exactly like KRS-One, so it's like
Wow.
KRS and Large Pro. I'll take it. But I mean, look, I've not taken. I mean, listen, hip hop is hearing and formulating what you've heard into your own. I've taken a little bit from my whole journey of knowledge through hip hop. I came up through Jazzy J, um, Africa Bambaataa, Red Alert, Kiss FM. Like I came up through that, saying, and then through the '80s and then through the '90s. So I've just taken a little bit of everything that hip hop has chosen to teach me, and I've just made it into my own, man. But it's
Yeah,
good to be compared to those people.
yeah, and I mean, I say it not to, say that you exactly sound like him.
Of
You
course
know,
not now, right?
it's just really the inspiration. It sounds like the inspiration is there, but you have your own sound. But like when I think about it, it's like when I first heard you, I was like, I didn't think Large Pro immediately, right? But I was like, I know this sound and I like this sound. And then I thought about it more, and I'm like, somebody else sounds like this. And I got to Large Pro, and I was like, yeah, it's Extra P. So I just wanted to ask you that because it's so apparent in what I hear. I don't know if everyone else hears that, but I definitely hear it.
No
But I
doubt.
like Large Pro is one of the greats, man. Like so that's
Indeed. That he
yeah,
is. And we had him on our Good for Nothing album.
dope.
You
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
Let's say tell you the story about how he was I think he was supposed to do a track, right? Wasn't he supposed to do a track and then for the Good for Nothing album and then
Yeah,
he went
I reached out to him. So when we were working on the Good for Nothing album, we'd make a track, we make beats, and then I was thinking like who else would sound dope on this. And so I made this beat, and I heard Large Pro on this beat. So I reached out to him, and he liked it. He liked the beat. He got on it. He rhymed on it. He's like, yo, like you want me to? I could do you want me to make a beat? I can make a beat as well. And so for the album, and I was like in my mind, I'm like, no, I want you to rhyme on this. I'm like, I think you'll sound dope on this. He's like, no, I like the beat. He's like, if you want, I can do the beat as well. So then he spits on, he does the track, and then like afterwards, I thought about, it, I'm like, yo, I just passed up on a Large Pro beat. Like,
it'll come around again. What up to Large Pro? All right, let's do this.
God.
As you're talking about like Large Pro and getting the beat, passing up on the beat, it made me think about the the Fallback EP, like being that it was you guys put it out last year. How much of the beats from that did you guys consider at any point like I could use one of these shard beats for the Greater Good album? Like, did that ever cross?
Well, you know what? When this usually, if you notice, usually what happens is a lot of our EPs are with other producers, and it's me rhyming more than usual on them. It's like we kind of share MC duties on these EPs with other producers, and then when it's time to do the full album, I don't know, call me selfish, whatever. I usually produce the whole thing. I like that. The album's a different animal.
I could dig it.
Exactly.
Yeah. You know, and like then it goes back to the good people formula.
Yep.
And that's what the albums are.
Right.
Word. I'm gonna be honest with you though. Even though I knew that the Fallback EP was produced by Shah, it sounded like a good people project. I mean, being something that was produced by you. So I think you guys have mastered y'all sound to a degree where even if you work with a different producer, it still kind of works. Like maybe the chemistry just works.
I told you, man, it's magic.
I think also, I mean, I would guess, I'm thinking maybe some of these producers, we did something with Milk Crate, we did an EP with them. When it comes to doing stuff with other people, we have a certain sound, and they probably will tailor some of their stuff that be a good people. They know what a good people track sounds like, you know, and they're giving us that type of sound.
Yeah,
that makes a lot of sense. So, Emski, on the song Underdogs, you give some words of encouragement at the end of the first verse where you say, there are many angles to try, but just know you're going to win in the end from the drive and the will to stay determined. When you think about your victories that you've accomplished throughout your life, what has helped you to stay determined in order to experience those victories?
My son, Boston. Like I said, he has autism. So that's been, you know, a very, very special challenge in my life. But it's taught me so many things about how to even deal with people on the outside. And I just take a lot of the things that my son has taught me, taking care of a challenged child, and just spreading it into everyday life. And I think it's helped me in so many different ways. Being more patient, I have to be patient with my son. You know what I'm saying? So I've developed more to be more balanced and have patience with people, but still, you know, give that go ahead if I need to, like to put the pressure on. So I don't know. I would say my 9-year-old son is the cause of a lot of things.
Wow, man, that's dope, man. That's deep. So speaking about your son, the track On the Move, you MC, you talk about looking out for your son so he could be a better spectrum, right? And enjoy security and protection.
Right.
You also talk about his half black complexion and you know, what comes with, you know, that living in this society. What does fatherhood protection look like for you in these days and times?
Wow. It's multi-pronged because, you know, not only do you have to teach, but you also have to lead, and there's a difference between teaching and leading. And there's so many elements of, like I said with my son, it's like there's so many things that I have to do for him first, but it has to fit into my life. So it's all about lanes. You know what I'm saying? That's as best as I can describe it. It's all about, I find life isn't easy by any stretch, you know, but when you learn to have patience and you have knowledge of self, you know yourself, you know you are true to yourself, and you know yourself, everything around you becomes that much more clearer. I mean, that's how I live, and that's a lot of the stuff that comes out of my lyrics.
Dope. And thank you for sharing that. One of the dopest tracks on the album is The Knock. It's such a upbeat, uplifting track. I feel like this track just exemplifies what the good people are about. Like, what got y'all in the vibe to actually produce this record, The Knock?
Saint hates this track.
I don't, you know, it's like,
no, wait. You know what? I'm gonna tell you. I like the original Shout to Loose Ends. I like the original. There was a version that just had the strings, and I was like, Saint, I love this song. Can you flip this? And he's like, I'm not really, whatever. I kept bugging him about it. Come on, man. Can you flip that sample? Oh yeah, all right, cool. I'll get to it. So when he finally did it, I was like, yo, this is banging. And he still didn't like it. But I love it's one of my favorite tracks because it's not we do a lot of semi-serious records, right? I kind of figured, look, we're from New York, we're from the 90s. Let me do a nice little like Bentley's track. You know what I'm saying? Like, go out, throw a little jacket on, you know what I'm saying? Go out in your car, don't worry about nothing. We're talking about a lot of serious stuff, the greater good, but at the same time,
Right.
we want you to just not knock it in the whip, knock it in the club. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah.
Talk to me, Saint. What was your challenge?
Yeah.
Track?
What?
Nice, by the way.
About the track? Yeah, he came to me with this sample, and I like that's not a sample or type of track that I would probably would have flipped otherwise on my own. That's something I don't know. It's something about that. It's cool, but maybe in my production style it just didn't grab me. But there's been things in the past that's kind of I've kind of gone out of my lane, out of the box. Emski had ideas, and that's about being a group and compromising and doing things each other wants. Like we had this track called New York, about New York, and he wanted a certain type of beat, and it really wasn't something like the type of thing I was doing. He's like, let's try this. What I want you to do. It's this kind of feel, this idea. But I did it. And actually, I like that song. That's dope. How it came out. But so this is one of those songs where it's like this is almost like Emski producing through me, type of thing. Like I was his instrument to make this beat that he wanted. That's what's one of those songs.
But let me just add on to that by saying that to attest to Saint's greatness, every time I've asked him to make a beat and he didn't like it, it turned out to be a banger. So go figure.
That might also be a part of your greatness too, right, Emski?
Huh?
Yeah, no, he'll. I guess he hears things I don't hear some things, so I gotta trust him on it.
That's dope that y'all have that kind of relationship where you guys could trust each other's in terms of opinions, and then the tracks end up having such a dope outcome.
Well, we're music lovers and appreciators,
right?
And when you have a combination of that too, those two, it's a no-brainer. Like you gonna come up with something.
Dope. So the last track, I think it's called Grown or something like that. Yeah. Talk to me a little bit about this track and why you guys chose to close out the album with this track.
Go ahead, Saint.
If you listen to the album, it was kind of like it kind of starts off like kind of smooth, and then it gets a little bit grittier with 6-Shooter. Some of the tracks as you go on into the album, and then I wanted to kind of go out with something a little more jazzy, a little more smooth. And if you notice, we had an album. Actually, it was on For Good For Nothing. It was the last track on that album. Kind of left with instrumental playing the vibes. So does Grown. So it's just kind of like it's a way to just kind of go out of the album, something a little bit different, instrumental wise. And I thought that why it would fit best at the end of the album.
Dope. Emski, you want to talk about the direction you chose to take it with the lyrics on this track, Grown?
You know what? Read me some of my lyrics and I'll tell you.
I don't know off the bat, man.
Yeah, I'm so tired. I've been working so much, so I'm like my brain is kind of shot at the moment. So I'll just say that when I write from real experiences, with witty double meaning punchlines and stuff, but it always comes from a place of this is my perspective, this is what I'm going through. I'm going to put it here for you because I do understand the power of music. When you listen to it, you could be in a totally different mind space than when I wrote it, but it will resonate with you on a different plane because it's timeless music and it's stuff that you can relate to musically. Like, listen, we all like to listen to Shook Ones going to work. You feel hype. You know what I'm saying? That's the effect of music, and I feel with our music, I want it to be kind of like I definitely wanted to have love from the streets, but at the same time, I definitely want everyday working people, hardworking people who don't always want the over the top street stuff. Um, that's where our stuff meets, and I think like even Good Lords, just listen. That track is so hip hop, but still it has a melody to it. You know what I'm saying? Like the good people, man.
Man, very well
The
said.
good people.
It was a pleasure talking to y'all. Thank y'all so much for taking the time to just build on this record, man. Like I said, it's such a dope album.
Thank you.
I'm excited to see how it continues to be received. Before we get out of here, do y'all want to kind of like let the folks know what else might be in store? I know you guys said you guys still got some other stuff that y'all got coming. Like what's the rest of 2021 looking like for the good people, music wise, or even if it's just promotion for this project?
Well, we got vinyl coming for the Good People album soon. CDs potentially. Past that, I have some solo stuff that I'm probably just gonna drop that I did with the Milk Crate crew sometime this summer. But Good People music is always in the works, man. Like I said, I'm always writing. When Saint catches inspiration, he sends me the track, and I'm like, all right, bam. You know what? This fits this groove. And like I said, it's magic. Because a lot of times, it's the right fit. And then we start constructing who's going to do the hook, who we're going to have on it. You know what I'm saying? So we're in between real life. You know what I'm saying? Like Saint's working hard, I'm working hard. We're fathers. We're not just kids sitting around smoking the hells talking about you know what I'm saying? Like we're doing it out here in the world, and we make time for this music thing. So just think about the greatness of the last album, and I'll say great because I think we've gotten a lot of really good feedback from it. But I think our best stuff is yet to come. Like we've been around since 2006, and it's been a steady incline.
Wow.
In the last 2 years, Good for Nothing and this album here, plus with the Fallback, the Fallback EP, we're like this. We're like a plane on the incline. So just expect bigger and better things coming next, man.
Like I think you guys hold a special place in terms of what y'all bring. Like
yeah, I'll agree with you on that.
Like it's while it may be similar to what we've heard before, it's still different. Like, and it's you don't really hear albums in that way, and you guys keep that consistency. I'm like, you guys, I'll say this, you guys just stay true to your name, and that's what your music reflects.
Exactly.
I wanted to ask you, I saw that you made a post on IG, Mski, where people were asking you guys to put out the album on CD, and you put a CDR, like a copy of a burnt CDR. Is the album really ever gonna come out on an official CD, or is that just kind of just digital and maybe vinyl?
Just to speak on that, yeah, you know what it is? We're getting a lot of people ask, especially outside of the country. I guess CDs are, not so much in the U.S., but outside different countries, are still very popular, and they collect them like vinyl. So I'm getting a lot of people asking about the CD, and I thought that was just kind of a dead format. And I think people. I didn't think to do anything with that. I know, we're in the world with vinyl, and we're still in now. We understood the importance of putting out the vinyl. Right. But I'm finding out now how important it is to put on CD. People acting real, honestly, genuinely disappointed. and I had people reach out to me when I kind of posted that up, joking around, you want the CD? Oh, there it is. Download it. burn it. And you got yourself a CD.
That was cool, man.
And people took it like they were like hurt by it. I was like, yo, it's a joke. They didn't think that's serious. They were like, nah, for real, come on, yo, you seriously? And I saw some guy, he put, I guess there was some Facebook page for like CD collectors, and he posted what I put on there. He's like, yo, let's bomb them on their page and let them know how we need that CD, this and that. I was like, oh my God, I think it's too serious.
Wow.
So I guess the CDs, I don't want to disappoint people. So I think the CD will have to probably.
If there's a need for it, you gotta meet that demand.
The vinyl's definitely in the work. The vinyl's coming out, and then it looks like we'll have to look into the CD situation as well. I'm surprised that's still a thing, but
yeah.
You
know what I think it is with the CDs? Because I'm a CD buyer too, right? Like so you get it. Okay. Yeah, but what I say is, like, the CDs. So, like, if you're not someone who collects vinyl, and I'm just coming from my perspective, I don't collect vinyl, but I understand the importance of it. I don't have a vinyl player, so me collecting vinyl, it's just I'd probably just, if it's like a specialty item that I just want to say I have for like memorabilia purposes, like, then I'd get the vinyl.
Mm-hmm.
But I get the CD because I know I can actually play the CD, right? Or I can convert it to digital. But the other thing about the CD, I think that really stands out is the fact that it's like a mini vinyl. And I don't mean in terms of the format. I mean, like, if a CD gets put out and it has the insert with all of the artwork and even the lyrics, and if it's that, then I think it becomes almost just as valuable as vinyl to someone who likes collecting CDs. Does that make sense?
Yes.
You're selling, putting the CD out.
I'm just giving you my perspective on it, and it's not because of the disc, right? It's because of the stuff that comes with the disc, which is the insert, the lyrics, the artwork, the fold outs. If CDs are put out in that way, I think people will appreciate it more. I could care less for the CD if it's just going to be just some, what is it?
It's like a one-page insert and just the CD.
But there's another aspect to it too that is like, it's tangible. So if it's something that you want to pass on to your kids or something, like the CD is physical, that you could say, okay, this is a physical product, so those are the aspects of it. Not that you guys have to go and do a CD, but I'm just giving you my perspective. But yeah. But thanks for sharing that, man.
No, we gotta put the CD out now.
Hey, we'll see, man.
Yeah, it's coming out on CD, yeah.
It was a pleasure talking with y'all. I want to wish y'all continued success. I'm definitely going to be looking for all the other great stuff that the good people have to offer. Any last words y'all want to say to the people? Maybe you want to give them your social media sites or the websites where they can find you guys.
Want to thank you first and foremost for the opportunity to hop on your platform. We appreciate that. You can check us out at thegoodpeople.bandcamp.com. We have these incredible T-shirts. We have the best logo in the world. If you've never seen it, when you go to the page, when you see it, you'll understand what I'm talking about. Pick up a T-shirt. All of our projects pretty much are up on the site since 2006. Thegoodpeople.bandcamp.com. Huh?
Give me the regular site name again. Is it thegoodpeople.com?
Thegoodpeople.bandcamp.com.
Okay, got it. I'll put up Bandcamp.
Okay. Also, you can connect with us on Instagram at The Good People Hip Hop. My personal is at DJEMSKEE. Facebook is facebook.com/thegoodpeopleny. And what else? What am I missing? Shout to Next Records. They are handling the Greater Good album. What else, Saint? What am I missing?
I think that's it. That's about it.
Oh, shameless plug. I do a Friday radio show, Underground Independent Hip Hop, on Bushwick Radio, neversaynever.com, 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. New York City time every Friday. Bushwick Radio. It's called Pen Joints. Check that out. I think you'll enjoy it.
Oh, and you had mentioned things that are coming out. We're going to be doing a video visuals for Sound the Horns off that album.
Yes.
That's going to be the next single and video for
And
that.
we're doing a video for 6-Shooter too.
Yeah, with Monopoly Family. And then we're working, like right now we're working on some features. We got some producers are featuring us on albums and stuff. So that's what we're working on right now. So you'll probably see us on various other people's projects.
Right.
And after that, y'all doing a video for No Sweat as well, right?
I'm glad I would love it.
He was smooth with that. He just threw that in there real quick.
Yeah, that's what I got like the checks in the mail. I brought this up. We were talking about, we were setting this up. We were going to figure out what the singles were going to be, and we put out Lords, the Good Lords track, and then we all had to kind of agree on what we were going to do afterwards. So we agreed on Sound the Horns, and I had said No Sweat, and I was the only one who said it. I was kind of surprised. Out of us and the label and everybody else, I'm like the one person that I guess is feeling it more than everybody else. But I found somebody else who has that in common.
Somebody else. You got Krill from Out the Box. Yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Indeed, man. So to all of our listeners and viewers, remember you can go to our website outtheboxmedia.com so that you can get acquainted with everything we got going on with Out the Box. You can check out all of our previous episodes on that website by hitting the TV show tab or the podcast tab, radio shows tab. Thank y'all always for checking for us, whether you listen through the audio podcast or you're on the YouTube channel. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Out the Box TV. Till next time, I just want to say peace, love, and light. Stay focused, stay healthy, stay safe. We are out of here.
Peace. Salute.